All right, I'm sharing a cup this morning with one of my favorite ladies, Franka Philip. I've gotten to know Franka over the last few years, and when you get to know somebody and they say, we're good people, that's how I feel about Franka Philip. And Franka, so thank you so much for dropping by this morning on
Thanks
the show.
for asking me.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure, Joel.
Once we decided to have foodie friends, I mean, you're on the top of my list.
Come on. I would feel slighted if I wasn't one of your foodie friends.
I actually think you are one of the original foodies in this country, at least in this generation.
Well, I think I just came back to Trinidad 3 years ago, but I was quite awkward with what was going on in the food scene in Trinidad, even though I was in London. Mm-hmm. I started off food writing seriously about 8 years ago, and so since then it's been kind of going in one direction or the other. So.
What took you to London?
Well, I went to England actually in 1999 for 1 year. That was the intention, do my master's and come right back. 13 years later, I came back to Trinidad. So I went and did my master's at Sussex University in digital media. Got a job with the Brighton Argus newspaper, which is one of the more popular local newspapers. And then I moved on to the BBC in 2003. And when you're at the BBC, you have to stay and explore what delights there are. They're working in one of the world's top media organizations.
What was that experience like?
It was very, very interesting. Yeah. I met so many people. I know people from all over the world. So anytime there's a conflict, I know that there's somebody I can think of and think, oh my God. So like what happened in Paris, France, there were several colleagues that I was wondering whether they were safe and everything. Yeah. So yeah, it was a brilliant experience. Yeah.
And then what brought you back home, Franka?
Well, I came back home in 2012 to take care of my parents. My mom was ill. She passed away May 2012, and then I had to take care of my dad, and he passed away just last year. So at some point in your life, you're going to have to take care of your folks. Yeah. And it was never a problem. I always said that if I was whatever I was doing, I would drop it once my parents needed me. So I came. Yeah.
And you stuck home? You've not decided to return?
I wouldn't call it stuck, Trinidad has lots of things happening. I mean, London is always an option. But I think the potential that we have here and coming back here and being thrown into the whole media mix as well, you recognize that there are things you need to do. There's a point of giving back. You need to try and embolden the next generation, and that's very much what I'm all about this time. Yeah,
because you're now doing some work with The Guardian newspaper.
Yes, I'm the features and special publications editor there. So I encounter a lot of the younger writers, and I try to guide them in the way of getting their standards up and thinking about pride in journalism. Because a lot of that people think
that has been lost, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think journalism is a vocation. It's not a work. Yeah. It's something that you do with all your heart, all your soul, 24 hours of the day. It's hard to unplug. Yeah. Because you're trained naturally to be curious, more curious than the average person.
I remember when I first went to TV6 and I was coming out of radio, and I mean in those days Daily Knock, he calling you any time of the day, and you had to respond. And going to TV6, and then I'm hearing that my shift is over. Wherever the news is at, people report. I say that was a culture shock.
Yes, it is.
And that was just a new generation, I think, of journalists coming on. And as I said, I think it's important for people like your good self to impart that knowledge that this is, once you're a journalist, it is a 24-hour job.
It sticks with you, and now with the the kind of predominance of social media, it's coming at you from all angles, and so you kind of want to keep on top of everything. So there is that.
So where did the love for food start with Franka Philip? Because I said you're known on your social media platform as Trini Food.
Yes. Well, I've always enjoyed food. My parents were food-loving people. Right. I started taking food seriously when I was at university in Trinidad. I got into cooking a lot. And then, of course, when you go away, you try to recreate the stuff that you're used to. But it's interesting, I started writing seriously about food, about Caribbean food in particular, out of anger. I had spoken to a food television executive who said to me that Caribbean food, there's nothing for her. There was nothing to shout about. And I felt, well, okay, then I need to show you. So I
where was she
started
from?
She was
British?
Yeah, and she traveled to the Caribbean, and she felt that there wasn't anything much. She obviously had not been to Trinidad.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot to be said about our food, our agriculture, which is my kind of, I really want us to start doing more with regards to agriculture. People should start taking things on board. I myself am starting to look at the idea of getting some chickens, raising chickens for eggs. Yeah. Using my backyard more efficiently to grow stuff. And if more people did that, we'd be healthier. We'd be a lot healthier.
Yeah. So that's it. So it started. Your love for food started back then in London.
Well, my kind of devotion to it, then, more or less.
And that's when you started to pursue writing and writing about food.
And then Caribbean Beat called me and asked me to write for them.
Right.
So I write the cook-up column like 3 or 4 times.
3 or 4 times a year, because your articles can still be found in Caribbean Beat.
Yes. And that's a very, very exciting thing to do. Because you're writing for a very broad audience. And I really love Caribbean Beat. I think it is one of the best publications we've had in the region in terms of the intellectual stimulation, the diversity of topics.
It is.
It is one of the best.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
We have to trumpet it more.
Yeah. There's a pity that it's only available on
flights.
It
is that.
So you made something for me today?
I did,
Yeah, because I'm hungry.
I was trying to figure out what to give Joel, because I know you're real hard to please her, so I know your behavior. I've eaten with you, I've seen you eat, so it's all right. Had to be something hearty, had to be something special. So
you're pleased with it already?
Yeah, you see?
Even
if you imagine it.
Hearty and special, I'm good with that.
So, a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at Food Network and I was talking to Bridget Joseph, the chef at home.
At home, yes.
And we were talking about pot pies. And I thought, hey, when Marilla asked me to come on, when you invited me on, I said, I think I'll do a pot pie.
A pot pie?
But I didn't want to do a chicken. You know how the normal chicken pot pie. I didn't want to do that.
It's not a chicken pot pie?
No, that is so common, ordinary. I didn't want to do that. So I got you something a little more special. And I know you have a meat mouth.
Stop. Let's take a break. Let's take a break. And when we come back, Franka will serve up a pot pie, which is not a chicken pot pie. When we come back, Franka Philip, my foodie friend this morning on A Cup of Joe. Don't move, we're coming right back. Liming with Franka Philip, still to come. Franka, we have a little surprise for you.
Yes, I heard so, and I'm eagerly awaiting my surprise.
We have a surprise. You got to stay to the end of the show to find out about that. We are coming right back. Stay with us.